Mark Ormrod, MBE, pleasure to meet you. It's an immense pleasure to interview you. Thank you so much from Birmingham Wheelchair Basketball and Queen Alexander College for our Motivational Inspiration project. So, Mark, you're an inspirational person. You're Royal Marine Commando. You haven't stopped. I mean, I've looked at your websites and everything else, and you're, as you say, with Royal Marines, you're the first to understand, you're first to adapt and respond, and you're first to overcome. Please tell me about your story.
So, where should I start this one? I'll start from the beginning, right? And I'll do the nutshell version. So, I applied to join the Marines when I was 16. No, I was 15 and a half. And I was coming up to the end of compulsory education, GCSEs on the horizon. After a bit of soul searching and going back and forth, I decided that that's what I wanted to do. That was going to be my career, my next 20 plus years of my life. So I applied as I was finishing school, did my exams, got a date to do what back then was called the Potential Royal Marines course, which is a 3-day thrashing to weed out those that are maybe not ready, or when they go there, they maybe decide that actually this isn't for me. Managed to pass that. And then February 2001, I started Royal Marines training when I was 17 years old. Now, I was very fortunate in that I made it all the way through in one hit. I managed to pass all the tests that were put in front of me, and I never sustained any injuries that held me back. So by the time I turned 18, I had earned my Green Beret and was about to set off on what I thought was going to be a 20-plus year adrenaline-fueled career. Now, 4 weeks before I finished my training, I finished October 2001. 4 weeks before that, we all witnessed 9/11. So I remember we were stood in the diner on camp. We had done all the test phase of training. So it was all really about marching, doing the drill and getting ready to do the big pass out parade. So all the hard stuff was done. We were all in a good mood, celebrating, enjoying the last couple of weeks on camp. And then we all saw this. So we kind of knew that, as soon as we'd passed out and got those Green Berets in our head, we were going to be at the pointy end of the spear, which to a young 18-year-old who thinks that he's invincible was quite exciting. I'm naive, I'm stupid. I think, this is going to be all fun. It's going to be like a movie. So we finished training in October. Early 2002, I was trained to go to Afghanistan on Operation Jacana. Didn't end up going. The whole thing got quite scaled back. So I stayed in the UK. Then 2003 came around and I deployed on Operation Telic 1 to Iraq for that initial push over the Kuwaiti Iraqi border. Came back from there, settled into unit life, did the normal kind of stuff, trained out in Norway, learned to ski, to survive in the Arctic, went on a couple of exercises down in America, working with the Americans, and then decided in 2005 that I was going to leave. It's a 12-month process when you put your notice into leaving. My daughter had just been born. That 2006, a year after that, would have seen me do my minimum term of 5 years. Excuse me. So I thought it was a nice way to, nice time. I got a baby. I've been to war. I've got my Green Beret. I'd squeezed quite a lot into that 5 years. So I left. Now, things didn't go how I planned. That relationship broke down with my daughter's mother. I ended up working as a nightclub doorman, retraining as a bodyguard. Things went south pretty quickly. And about 11 months into my career as a civilian, I had a bit of a panic and I went running back to the warm embrace and bosom of the Royal Marines. Because I'd only been a civilian for maybe 11 and a half months, there was no need for me to redo any of my training again. It was just a case of doing the annual fitness test, shooting test, that kind of stuff. And then I was back in uniform, ready to pick up where I left off. Now, when I passed those tests and I went to my unit, which was 40 Commando in Taunton, they were already gearing up for deployment to Afghanistan, which was great for me. You know, I brushed over it very quickly there, but in that brief period of civilian, things went south quite quickly for me for many different reasons. So I thought, ideal. You know, we can go out to Afghan, we can get away from things, I can reassess my life, reprioritize things, put a plan together, come back, and then be a bit more of a grown-up about things. So September 7th, 2007, after a couple of months of arduous pre-deployment training, I deployed to Afghanistan, to Helmand province, working at a place called Forward Operating Base Robinson. And just over halfway through that tour, on Christmas Eve that year, I was second in command of a section of 8 men out on a routine foot patrol. And on the way back into camp, I stood on and detonated an improvised explosive device, which tore off both my legs above the knee and my right arm above the elbow, making me the UK's first triple amputee to survive from the conflict.
Wow.
That's the nutshell version.
Wow.
The quick version.
You're quite open about that, and I've read some of your story. I mean, 14 weeks and you was back marching on parade with prosthetic limbs. I mean, that must have been so grueling for you, but but lots of determination of overcoming adversity. I mean, you must have been going through such a in rehab and everything else, going through that, but to have that kind of spirit and determination is amazing. I mean, what really motivates you, inspires you?
So for that situation in particular, and a lot of the things in the early stage of my rehab, what I found really powerful was about making it about more than me. So I was still a Royal Marine. I still had all my faculties. I just lost a couple of digits. So I still had standards to maintain. I still had professionalism to show the world. So I thought, let's show the world what the Royal Marines are about. And I'm going to try and make my colleagues proud, make all those men that have gone before me proud, all those men that will go after me proud, and push rehab to a level which I don't think it had been pushed to before. Because no one had really gone through the system with my level of injuries. There had been people with both their legs missing, but I'd lost my dominant arm as well. So we had to figure everything out. But I just kept thinking, this isn't about me. This is about something much bigger. For me, I put that as the Royal Marines and our reputation and our standards and our values. And that's what got me through the early stages. Just thinking about what it was that got me through my initial Royal Marines training as a 17-year-old and putting that into my rehab.
You are a fantastic person. I mean, you've done so many different things, from a run across America, 3,500 miles. I mean, what was that like?
So I didn't do it on my own. I was part of a team. I think that's important. And it was fun. It was draining, and it got very boring and laborious and repetitive. Just getting up every day. We had to run for 63 days continuously. But it's an adventure. You got to travel across the USA, which was just crazy in itself. 1 minute you're in Washington outside the White House. 2 days later, because of how slow the pace was we were running at, you thought you were in a third world country. The poverty and everything, and you're out in the sticks, and there's houses with holes in the roofs and families living in them in the middle of nowhere. And then you're in New York City. It's just Ferraris and Lamborghinis and helicopters, and it was crazy, a crazy adventure, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I mean, you've done also obviously 3,000 miles across Britain. Was that in a team as well of ex-combatants and veterans?
That was the one around the UK, you mean?
Yeah.
So that was a bike ride. We went around. We did the anti-clockwise around the coastline of the country. Again, veterans and members of the veteran community.
I mean, so reading from your story, and and I've just ordered your book, so I am going to read your book as well. And obviously, that's been turned into. Is that something that's turning into a big screen later in the in the coming times? And obviously you've got No Limits as well. I mean, what was that like to sit down and actually write about your autobiography?
I found it quite cathartic. I did it way back when I was in rehab, probably 2008. So in the evenings, a lot of the other guys and girls would jump on the PlayStations and Xboxes, but I couldn't do it because I only had one arm. So I had to find another way to occupy my time. And I built up a relationship with a freelance journalist because the media were, they spent about a decade all over these stories like mine. And we just decided to write a book together. So he was my ghostwriter. And we went back and forth for about 10 months until we got something that we were both semi-happy with. And that the MOD were happy with, that we could put out there. And we did, and now like this morning, I just texted my other ghostwriter about the second book, but hopefully we're going to get released soon. We've been working on it for a while and we've got a few issues with certain things, but hopefully we'll overcome those and get the second one out there. And then we're combining the two to make the movie.
Fantastic.
So it's exciting.
It's really amazing. I mean, I say, what was the Invictus Games like to be part of that? And obviously 11 medals. And, I was reading part of that is that you actually took part in an event that you'd not trained for and, to make sure it goes ahead to support the other participants as well.
Yeah, it was a swimming event. It was the 50-meter breaststroke. And because of my disability, my injury, I'm missing 3 limbs. I'm at the far end of the spectrum, which means, I was going to say it's common sense, but it's not. But there's a lot less athletes at my end of the spectrum, right? There's loads with, both their arms and both their legs with various different issues, loads with one leg missing, but triple amputees or beyond that, there are only a few of us. So in the 50-meter breaststroke, there was a guy, Australian, Gary, friend of mine that I met at the first Invictus Games. And I was asking his coach what events he was doing. And he told me, so I knew we'd be competing in the freestyle against the 50 and 100 meters. And he said that he was the only one doing the 50-meter breaststroke. Now, I didn't know any of it worked. So I just said to his coach, oh, brilliant. So he's got a gold medal already then. He doesn't have to do anything. And then he explained to me that's not how it works. You have to have at least 2 people in the race or they'll cancel it. So I just said, okay, well, he's trained for it. There's loads of people here watching. If the judges allow it, I'll jump in as well and we'll give him a race. And they said, yeah, it's fine. So we came back the next day. We didn't have to swim any heats because, again, there's so few of us. And, jumped in and we raced. Yeah, we did it.
Fantastic. I mean, as I said, you're such a pleasure to talk to. And, I think your goal setting and what you put in your keynote speeches about obviously goal setting, turning setbacks into opportunities and overcoming adversity. I mean, is that something that you want to push towards different kind of settings like businesses and also schools and colleges and everywhere else as well?
Absolutely. I think it's a message that we all need to push out a little bit more. I don't want to jump down a rabbit hole here, but I just feel like most people are geared up towards negativity. And what I mean by that is if something bad happens, their default setting is, oh no, why me? This isn't fair. If you actually stopped and looked at it, we're surrounded by so much negativity, the news, what's on the radio, all this garbage on social media, and people are so divided. And I think a lot of people just flip to that default setting of being negative when something adverse happens in their lives. But I just think if you take a minute and you pick it apart and you try and find what's positive about that situation and you adopt that mindset when you're attacking those challenges, the outcome's so much different, and I always preach this about everyone, get around good people that are on the same kind of mission you're on, people that have the same kind of positive mindset. Adapt your environment. Behind my computer now that I've got vision boards, motivational quotes, stuff that motivates me when I'm sat at my desk. I customize my social media timeline so there's no guff in it. It's all positive stuff. People I look up to, people I consider mentors in my face 24/7 when I'm on my phone. I've customized my environment so that it's empowering. And I try and tell as many people as I can to do the same kind of thing, have positive habits and routines. You know, the first thing you do when you get up in the morning, for me, it's 10 minutes meditation, coffee, and then if it's in my routine, I'll hit the gym. You know, but I think a lot of people will get up and they'll have the sugary cereal after they've hit the snooze button 4 times. They'll put the telly on. They won't even be aware that, you know, subconsciously they're listening to death and the collapse of the economy and this celebrity scandal. And, you know what I mean? It has such a negative impact on your mindset day after day. Just change those routines and habits and make them more empowering.
It's funny you say that, because obviously we did an interview with James Ketchum. And obviously he flew across the globe, 24,000 miles, nautical miles, in a gyrocopter, which was an amazing feat. And he said, you know, even on a bad day, if you can get out of bed and do one positive thing, that completes the whole day as a positive thing to carry forward. And I think you're right, because obviously, you know, it's people look for somebody for that positivity all the time, and we have it in school, in colleges, to support our young people moving forward, but they need somebody to actually feed off with that kind of passion. I mean, what would you say to young people now trying to refocus their lives, regardless if they've got a disability or not? But we're in possibly coming out of the pandemic and lockdown, and slowly July the 19th is going to be the situation where hopefully things are going to move forward. What would you say to young people now trying to, create a career for themselves and be more positive in themselves?
The first thing I'd say is have more faith in yourself. Again, I don't know when this kind of switch happened with the human race, where people are so unconfident in what they're capable of doing, and they look to people, that are put on pedestals that are successful in life, footballers, businessmen, and they treat them like they're unicorns, and like they're, all right, they've all got talent and they work hard, but we can all work hard to achieve what we need to achieve. People just need to have a little bit more belief in themselves and stop listening to the negative people around them. If there's something you want to do, right, when you think about it, that gives you goosebumps and gets you excited inside, but you tell your mate and he says that's a stupid idea, and then you just deflate, don't hang around with that mate. Do you know what I mean? Or limit the time. I had a friend when he was leaving the Marines who rang me up and he said, mate, I need your advice. I really want to be a barber when I leave, but I'm worried that the lads will make fun of me. I'm like, who cares if they make fun of you? If cutting people's hair makes you happy, mate, go and cut people's hair. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what they think. Just go out and do what makes you happy. What else are you going to do? Sit on a ship doing anti-piracy in a rusty boat, eating fish heads for 6 weeks at a time because that's the cool thing to do, what everyone will give you respect for. Go cut hair, mate. Be with your family. Enjoy yourself. Build a business. Do what you want to do. Don't worry about what other people say, because that's where the magic is. When you do something that you enjoy and you're passionate about and you get paid to do it, you've won. You broke the code, and then those people that maybe said it was a silly idea, made fun of you, said you couldn't do it, they'll be doing the corporate job, working for the man, angry, trapped, working weekends, working 12-hour days. Then they'll come and look at you and be like, damn, you made the right decision. Just have more confidence in yourself.
I do. I mean, I think it's really true what you say, because obviously, I've been involved in disability for over 20 years, and I'm in a position now where I actually influence young people's lives, but they look for me to support them in giving that kind of positivity. And to me that's like something that I'm so passionate about with regards to how they move forward and potentially go into employment of their interest. Obviously, you've created such a positive feel in what you do now, and I've seen some of your Instagram with your training. I mean, how hard do you actually work in training every single day? I mean, does that take its toll on you, or is it just something that you get used to?
I think, like with any athletic endeavor, you build up your physical and mental fitness to it. But yeah, as a triple amputee, everything takes me a lot more energy and effort. Even a lot of it is stuff that people can't see. Like, your core, the way your core works and everything like that, and trying to figure out what prosthetics to use for what exercises and what events and what disciplines. So but again, it's like a giant adventure. You just test and adjust, you try different things. And, I'm going to be 38 in a couple of weeks' time. I'm slowing down now. I'm not all about lifting the heaviest weights and beating everyone at everything. I'm all about health and wellness and looking after myself, and it's about longevity now.
Fantastic. Are you still involved with Reorg, is it? And obviously the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and
Yep.
you raise a lot of money for them to support people who want to be part of that. What entails in that, and how much enjoyment do you get out of that?
I love it, because prior to being injured, I had a martial arts background. I competed in Muay Thai, full contact kickboxing, and I boxed in the Marines. And I thought it was something that was taken away from me, that, martial arts. And I love all of it, the discipline, the spirituality, the honor and respect side of it. And I got that back through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it's probably the most adaptive sport, martial arts, out there, which is so inclusive. I can go there and genuinely make my way through the grading system based on hard work and effort, not pity and sympathy. Everything can be adapted. And what is great about it is I found out as I've progressed that everybody, even the able-bodied people, have their own style of jiu-jitsu. There's obviously textbook ways to do things, but everyone adapts it to what suits them and what they find more effective. So obviously having a disability plays a part of it, when you go up against able-bodied people, but you can still adapt it so much that you're in you're in the fight, all the time, genuinely.
Right. Obviously, tell me about this 99.9 miles. What's all this about?
So Reorg, when the charity Reorg originally started, it was created to help Royal Marines only who had physical or psychological injuries as a result of their service to heal through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because it's hard to explain it unless you've done it. But when you've done it, you understand the physical and mental benefits of it. When you're rolling around, you're fighting, you're sweating, you're trying to survive being choked. You can't worry about much when someone's trying to choke you, except for surviving. So all your day-to-day worries and everything else kind of drift off temporarily. Then you get the dopamine hit and you're on the high and you go and socialize with the guys, and it's very tight-knit, that camaraderie and that brotherhood. But because it was so popular, it very quickly evolved. And then it went tri-service. Then it went serving military and veteran community. And then we understood that actually the fire brigade, the police, the ambulance service, and all these guys in the emergency services go through hell as well. We go to combat, we go to war, it gets put in the paper. They're dealing with this every day. RTAs, house fires, God knows what the ambulance service do on a daily basis. But they were then, they were reaching out saying, oh, can we get involved? And I don't know what provisions they have, but they seem to gravitate towards us. And then it also evolved from just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to more of a lifestyle thing. So you can get the same benefits of physical activity to help with your mental well-being and being in a community of like-minded people if you're paddleboarding or you're rock climbing or you're cycling or open water swimming, whatever it is. It's all about getting people together with a shared passion and putting them through a shared hardship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the 99.9 mile bike ride, the hook there is 999 to highlight that we work with the emergency services as well. And it's just part of a series of events we've done this year, which there's no plan to do this. It evolved from nothing. Well, it evolved from me shaving my beard off. And then it went into a 5K run, then into a 1K open water sea swim, now into a 99.9 mile bike ride. And then I don't know what we're going to do after that, but we'd love to cap the year off with like a black tie event, a bit of fun, where I'm not getting my ass kicked by anybody. And I can just sit back and enjoy myself for an evening.
Sounds fantastic. I'd say you're a pleasure to talk to, Mark. And, thinking about, obviously we've gone past through these 18 months of lockdown, and we've had so many different interviews and about reconnecting with people and how the world has possibly changed virtually. talking to different inspirational people and Paralympians, Olympians. I mean, what to you stands out for you as a momentous change in your life, and what is possibly your fondest moment?
I don't think there's been a monumental change in my life. I don't know whether it's my background in the Royal Marines or just my natural tendencies, but I just adapt to whatever's going down. In the beginning, I really struggled with the homeschooling thing. That was like people, when I used to say this, they used to laugh at me thinking I was joking, but it nearly broke me. Like the combination of getting up every day, trying to manage the kids, teach the kids, give them healthy food, exercise them where we could, entertain them. Me and my wife were both holding down full-time jobs ourselves. And that was a struggle. So that was the biggest change really. But everything else, we just, pivoted and adapted. And, like a lot of people, we just got on with it, and come out the other side stronger. That's the kind of mindset you have to go into these challenges with. If you can figure out how to get through each day, you'll come out the other side stronger.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people reiterated that as well. I mean, if you had a message to support, obviously, the people that are still struggling at this time, and and obviously lots of people have isolated through shielding and different reasons and conditions, what would your message be to those people, but also to the key workers themselves, obviously through lockdown and where we are at the moment?
I mean, in terms of people that are struggling, it's been a long time now. It's been over 18 months, and they've probably had, like we all have, we've had bad days and we've had good days. My advice is to figure out why the good days were good, and whatever you did, do more of that. Do you know what I mean? If whatever that routine was for that day, whoever you saw, spoke to, whatever you did, do more of that. Just increase what you do on the days that you feel good. To the key workers, I'll say what everyone said, and just thank you. I never went, thankfully, into a hospital during this entire thing, so I never saw what it was like in the trenches. But even without COVID, nurses, doctors, or these lot put in the hours anyway. Do you know what I mean? They're a special kind of person that you've got to be a special kind of person to want to do that job. You know what I mean? So, they've shone through it all, and it's you feel proud to watch that.
Absolutely. What holds the future for Mark Ormrod MBE? What are your next plans regards to challenging events or moving forward with the future for you?
So I'm not going to say I'm pivoting, but I am concentrating more now on business. So I've been doing a lot of stuff for the last 10 years behind the scenes that I never really talk about. I've got a couple of online businesses. I do the speaking, a couple of offline businesses, things that I've been just growing and watering and planting seeds for years and years and years. And I've kept that very quiet. And I think I'm going to be a lot more open about that now. Not to, show off or anything like that, but, I'm sat here with one arm and it's not even my dominant one. And if I can do that, utilizing technology, reading the right books, getting the right mentors, following the right systems and processes that other people have been through, to create businesses that I'm proud of, that I enjoy working in, and make a good living from it, anyone can do it. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm a Marine with one arm. I used to eat crayons for a living. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's what I want to do. Kind of as we move away from trying to, and I hate saying this, but trying to inspire people with the physical stuff. I want to try and do the same now, but with business. And show people what's possible.
I mean, you're a great ambassador for the forces, and my daughter's just started her training in the Royal Navy. She's at HMS Plymouth at the moment.
Okay.
And what would you say to young people who have started out on their career in the forces and want to continue doing things and work, progressing their career?
Enjoy it. and take advantage of every opportunity that you got. You know, I used to, when I was working for the Royal Marines charity for 10 years, I used to speak to recruits that were in week 28. And I always used to say to you, because you get a lot of time off in the military, right? You get Wednesday afternoons off for football, you go home half day Friday, you get all these regular leave periods. When you work, but when you don't work, you don't work. And I say to them, don't sit on your ass in your grot, you know, on your bed watching Jeremy Kyle. Go out to the education center, go and upskill yourself, get some more qualifications. You know, people can even start businesses now on their mobile phones. I know a load of lads that are serving that have coffee brands, clothing brands, sports, like gym brands. Don't waste, have fun, but don't waste your time. Don't just find yourself in this cycle of having all these hours off and doing nothing with them. You know, enjoy what you're doing. And then, you know, there's so much you can do: courses, educations, qualifications. Take advantage of it all. Build yourself up.
Thank you. And finally, Mark, we always finish with this question: is if you could think of a quote to support motivation and inspiration, what would that quote be and why?
Hustle, hit, never quit. That's on the back of my t-shirt. So it means work hard, right? Attack it and be resilient. Never quit, never stop, just keep going, because there's a lot to be said for being stubborn. If you just keep going, it's like water on a rock. You know what I mean? Over hundreds of years, that little bit of water wears away at the rock, and then eventually the rock will split. You know, no matter what it is you're doing, just keep going, stay, you know, focused, motivated. Don't get too down by setbacks, and eventually it all just falls into place.
Mark Ormrod, MBE, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I look forward to reading your first book, but I can't wait to see the second book that comes out. And good luck with, you know, the big screen arrival of the movie when it happens. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I hope we can talk again. Hopefully we can get you into our college and do some talking to our students, which would be amazing. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see more of you in the future doing more endurance challenges.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
You take care. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you, mate. Bye.